Portal. Everybody knows it. Everybody played it. What started life as a simple filler game / apology to fans for the delay of a new chapter in the Half-Life saga, Portal soon blossomed into a cultural phenomenon, forums spouting the cake is a lie, and tweens everywhere screeching along to a bad recording of the game's end song Still Alive. So wisely, Valve turned their heads to a sequel. But how could you do a sequel to such a tightly knit story arc? It would be difficult, but not impossible. Great care would have to be taken. And have they bothered, or have they just decided to cash in and sell out? With that, let's dive into Portal. First we'll focus on the single-player campaign. The story of the single-player campaign is split into 3 separate acts, with the first 5 chapters dedicated to the first. The game starts out with a rather hilarious Stephen Merchant giving you a brief tutorial and exposition in regards as to what happened in the time between the 2 games. The pair of you rather unwittingly resurrect GLaDOS, the original central villain, and now she wants revenge, pitting you in what she promises to be an eternity of tests, whereby you must use the iconic portal gun to solve the puzzles, with GLaDOS occasionally hurling insults at you and even on occasion sabotaging your efforts. Stephen Merchant returns and helps you escape the tests, and the 2 of you set about destroying GLaDOS once for all, by disabling her turrets and deadly neurotoxins. It's this first act, about the length of the original Portal, where everything is at its best. The gameplay is endless fun, the puzzles creative and intuitive, and the humour absolutely pitch perfect with scarcely a line wasted. The 2 of you finally put a stop to GLaDOS and replace Stephen Merchant in control. Unfortunately, he very promptly grows power mad and hurls you. Unfortunately, he very promptly grows power mad and hurls both you and GLaDOS down a near bottomless pit to your deaths. And it's here where the game unfortunately starts to fall apart. There is a new voiceover actor who takes over for what would have been the role of the omnipresent GLaDOS, and it's the form of J. Jonah Jameson. And whilst he is constantly hilarious with what he says, the puzzles here become a lot more fiddly and counterintuitive than they were with the introduction of all the new gels. And crossing the gels and using precise portals that don't quite measure up because of the technology, which can make you miss constantly by just millimeters, which can grow incredibly frustrating. But it's here, during these 2 chapters of the second act, where you encounter the majority of the new content, featuring all the liquids, such as a bouncy gel, a speeding gel, water, and light bridges. And it is still all rather funny. But you really just can't stop feeling that it's all a bit filler material here, with some truly fiddly and infuriating puzzles. Not helped with a shoehorned in cliché when you find GLaDOS and the 2 of you must work together to defeat the new enemy. It's handled well, but it still feels like a forced cliché, very tired, an attempt to give GLaDOS some more screen time due to her popularity. But still, after an untidy and uneven couple of chapters, Portal 2 perks up again as you and your potato sidekick return to the Aperture Science Labs and attempt to destroy Stephen Merchant with paradoxes, apparently something no artificial intelligence can resist. The plan backfires, of course, as Stephen Merchant fails to grasp the very concept of an unanswerable question and contently answers them. The puzzles become a lot more fluent now, with some thankfully intentionally simplistic puzzles. The humour also bumps back to previous levels of hilarity, with a now quite insane Stephen Merchant bombarding you with death traps, all culminating in the final showdown. Now, I have offered spoilers here so far, but the climax of this one has to be seen to truly be appreciated, and has to be one of the best endings to any campaign I have yet played on any modern console and the majority of retro consoles. Now, with the PlayStation Network only recently coming back online, I haven't had an extensive playthrough with the multiplayer, but from what I have yet played and tried out, the servers are perfectly functional and there should be no lag, and it all works out fine, even without the use of a microphone, thanks to Valve's intuitive controls that they've given to help players put across what they need doing. So, final verdict: despite a few ropey levels and puzzle mechanics, and minor glitches, including a time where the game auto-saved a loop of my death, but the game's multiple save points stop most of these becoming anything more than a mild annoyance. The fact is that when Portal 2 is good, it's excellent and surpasses its original and any game that's come out recently. And when it's bad, it's just slightly frustrating and still worth recommending over most games that come out lately. And so really this game has to have a solid 9 out of 10. It's an essential experience for any gamer, and I suggest if you haven't already picked it up that you definitely do so.